What's going on, y'all? Thanks for checking in with Callie. Please like, subscribe if you haven't. I think it's time we start having a real conversation about James Harden. And we've spoke about this before. I've spoke my piece on James Harden early in the season, things like that. And, I got some criticism. And, for the most part, I looked at the criticism that I've gotten and spoken to people close to me also about James Harden, where we go back and forth like all the time. And I actually gave James Harden credit for what I was seeing, because when the Clippers went on that, they won 25 out of 32 games or something like that earlier in the season. That was incredible. That's probably the best basketball I've seen a team play in probably, if not ever. It's been a long, long time since I've seen a team play that dominant in an 82 game season. It really has. That just shows how good the Clippers can be. But my point is, with James Harden, I always ask the question, are you going to get that type of gameplay from James Harden in the crucial moments of the season? Well, basically, crucial moments of the season going into the postseason, which is the playoffs. And it's always been a question because it's always been a knock on his career. And that's the thing with James Harden. Like, as great as he can also be just that bad. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, it's a counterbalance or something like that with James Harden. It just really, it's like a real roller coaster with him. And you're looking at the Clippers now, like my last video where I talked about how they lost to the Hawks, Trae Youngless Hawks. I mean, that's horrible all on its own. Last night, I mean, that score was ridiculous. I can't get the 67-90 out of my head. Then the 93-110, the Clippers lose by 17. It's just crazy. I'm not going to get into that too much, but you look at a game like that, and you look at a couple games prior to that, James Harden is the one that really hasn't been showing up. And they're not even asking James Harden to do a lot. And this is my problem with James Harden. As good as he is, like I said, he can fall just as quickly because he has all the talent in the world to, be the type of guy that can push a team to win a championship, because he is a great passer. He can score. He's everything you want in a point guard. He's big, he's strong, he's left-handed. So, I mean, that makes him unorthodox to a lot of other defenders. And then, like I said, he's real crafty. So, I mean, it's like when you think about a point guard, if a point guard has all that, and I will give James Harden this, he does have a lot of basketball IQ. He does, you know what I'm saying? But with all that, comprised in one body, you would think that he would have multiple championships probably, especially with the talent that he's played with and just the talent he is himself. But when you look at a game like last night against the Hawks, I mean, he plays over 20, 30 plus minutes and he's only got 9 points and 6 assists. That's not good enough. I mean, that's just not good enough, especially, him coming off an injury and things like that. He was out a game or two. You got to come back and be ready to play. You can't come back and lay an egg like that, because the Clippers still need to win games, especially this part of the season. Then a few games ago, it was, he had I can't remember. I think he had 13, 15 points somewhere in there. He didn't shoot well. He didn't step up when they needed him to, when I think PG was struggling one of those games. And then I remember a week or two, a couple games before that, he goes 0 for 10 from the 3-point line. But he did have 10 assists to kind of somewhat make up for it. Now, they won that game, but that was against the Minnesota Timberwolves a few weeks ago, because Kawhi had 32 points or something like that. And it was what was it? I think the game was 89-88. The Clippers found a way to eke that win out or something like that. But that's horrible, because that's not the way they should be. They should be a lot more, fluid than that with their offense and things of that nature. But that's what I'm saying. With James Harden, it's like, I can't even, I'm not saying it's not possible, but to go 0 for 10 from 3, you took 10 3-pointers and missed every single one. Not saying that can't happen, but you shouldn't be taking 10 threes like that. It's just not what he should be doing. You know what I'm saying? He should be a lot more in control of his game than that. You take 5 to 6 threes and find ways to get to the basket and be more aggressive. That's what James Harden should be doing. He shouldn't be taking 10 3-pointers in a game to even go 0 for 10 from 3. Ty Lue, after that game a few weeks ago, he laughs it off and the post game and all these things. But Ty Lue knows that's horrible basketball. That is horrible. That is horrible decision-making type basketball. And you're not going to win with a player who thinks like that. And this is my problem I always had with James Harden. He is a great player. He is a Hall of Famer. He is a superstar. He has been all those things in his career. He has put up like huge numbers. I think I remember one game he put up like 60 points and like 10 assists or something like that. I've seen him do things like that. But, the late, great Kobe Bryant, R.I.P. Kobe. Kobe always said, the way James Harden plays, that game style, it's going to be hard to win a championship. And he might not ever win a championship playing that way. And Kobe Bryant said that so many years ago, because when you play that type of style of basketball where it's just run and gun and, step back threes, trying to draw a foul at the 3-point line, getting 4-point plays and all those type things, it's almost like the way Luka plays. Luka plays like the way James Harden used to on Houston. And there's still times when you watch James Harden now, he still plays that same type of mentality. Like I said, going 0 for 10 from 3 in a game, that's horrible. That is horrible. Like, that's not that's definitely not going to help you win championships. And like I said, he shouldn't even be taking 10 3-pointers in a game, not with all those Hall of Famers they got on this team now. And like I said, you look at a game like last night against the Hawks. I mean, even if James Harden is off, in which he was, obviously, you can't have 6 assists and 3 turnovers against the Atlanta Hawks. And this is without Trae Young. Even if they had Trae Young, it doesn't even matter. But you can't have 6 assists and 3 turnovers with the Atlanta Hawks. You got to have about, I'd say, 11 assists and 3 turnovers against a team like that. Because who on that team could stop him? Who on the Atlanta Hawks can do anything to James Harden? Who on the Atlanta Hawks can like really neutralize him from even really getting to the basket if he chose to? Nobody. Who could stop him from really actually, maybe, kind of like getting to the basket, drawing a couple players, drawing a double team, finding Kawhi or PG at the wing for 3, or finding somebody else and getting somebody else involved. I mean, a game like that, James Harden really should dominate. He really should. And this is my point. Like, there's been too many games this season, especially after the All-Star break, more so what we're focusing on. It's been too many times where I've looked at James Harden and said, wow, okay, you're supposed to be the so-called Clippers, the system, the savior, and all this other type stuff. And, the Clippers played the Bulls the other night, and they damn near look flawless without him. I mean, I know Kawhi and PG, you don't want them doing too much as far as running the point and getting 8 assists and plus, scoring 30 points a game, because that's what wore them down years ago. But they look just as good that way. I mean, honestly, I don't know. Like, I know it's one game, but it's like they need a lot more from James Harden. That's what I'm saying. They're not going to win if they don't get more from James Harden. James Harden can't average 12 to 13 points like he has these last several stretch of these games. And, with, 6, 7 assists, that's not going to do it. That's not going to cut it. They need a James Harden that can give them consistently a 17 to 18 points per game with 9 assists per game. That's the type of James Harden that's going to get it done. If he stays within that realm right there, 17-9 or maybe 16-10, consistently, preferably 17-9 would be a lot better, because like I said, he would be contributing a little bit more offensively. He'd be a threat offensively, where the defense of the other team will have to make adjustments for him just in case, he's open for 3. They're really actually paying attention to him a little bit. Plus he's actually, dishing out assists as well. So, I mean, they need that 17-9 James Harden. That's what they're going to need to win. If he shows up anything less and he's shooting horrible and not taking high efficient type shots, also, that's going to get them beat. And that's the problem with James Harden. He takes a lot of shots that are just not efficient. The same thing that Paul George does. And that's the biggest thing that scares me about the Clippers, because we all know if Kawhi is healthy, we know he's going to be efficient. We know he's going to give you that every single night. We know he's going to go out there and just show you the reason why he's the claw. He's going to show you why he's the top player in the league, just like he's been doing all year. We know what Kawhi is going to do, but the other two are so inconsistent. It really offsets everything that Kawhi does. Kawhi can have a perfect night, but Paul George and James Harden are so inconsistent. A lot of times what Kawhi does not matter, because they offset it by their inconsistencies. So it's like I said before, between James Harden and Paul George, they both need to average 19 points a game. 18 to 19 points a game and give the Clippers that consistently every single night and let Kawhi be Kawhi. And, if James Harden can average like 8 or 9 assists in there, somewhere in there, they're good. But they need that 17 to 19 points from PG and Harden every single night. I mean, like consistently, like just all the way out. Because if they don't get that out of them two, or if them two are not somewhere in that ballpark, the Clippers don't have they probably don't have a chance to win a championship, because like I said, you're putting too much on Kawhi then. And remember, Kawhi has to guard the opposing team's best player all the time, and he has to be accountable for putting up points and being efficient, just so the Clippers can, maintain leads or stay within games, stay close within striking distance, so they can make a comeback and probably win a game. He has to do all that all the time, and it's just going to wear on him, because what is the point of having three other Hall of Famers when you can't depend on them? That's really a waste of time. He might as well just have stayed in Toronto and kept Norman Powell out there, and they just try to make a run in Toronto. Because I mean, if you're not going to get consistency out of 3 other Hall of Famers, two out of the 3 or however many all the Hall of Famers, Kawhi just might as well go, one-man band the way he used to. Basically just, be the guy on a team with a bunch of role players, and he carry him to the promised land, because we all know Kawhi is good enough to do that. You know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, if you ask me, Kawhi has always played better when he was by himself, because he knew he was the guy. He knew what he had to do, and everybody else played their role to perfection. They wasn't really expected to be the guy. He was only expected to be the guy. But see, when on a team like the Clippers, there's expectations for everybody else more so than Kawhi Leonard. And a lot of people won't say that, but that's really the truth. Kawhi's already got 2 championships. He's already been to the promised land twice. He's been to it 3 times, actually. Because his first year, they came in with the Spurs. They lost against the Heat. The second year, Kawhi took over. And then, he had the magical run in Toronto. So, I mean, he got 2 championships. So, it's like, really, his resume is he's just adding to his resume. You know what I'm saying? He's not pressured to really get a championship the way the others on the team is. They really need a championship to basically, top off their career, to basically like, oh, okay, yeah, that's the only thing their career is missing. Kawhi's career isn't missing anything. So it's like, the pressure's really on them even more so than Kawhi. So James Harden, I need better from James Harden. I need him to play a lot better. I need him to play a lot more hungry, a lot more desperate. I don't want to just see shooting threes and trying to draw 4-point plays all the time. That's the Houston Rockets James Harden. We need a James Harden a little bit more aggressive than that. You know what I'm saying? Go to the basket. And even back then, he was a lot more aggressive because he was younger and things of that nature. I get it, but we need a James Harden that's a lot more aggressive. I mean, one that can, don't go 0 for 10 from 3 in a game. Don't even take 10 3-pointers in a game. I don't even want to see that ever again. Take 5 3-pointers in a game. Take 6 3-pointers in a game. Don't take 10, because that just shows me you're lazy. That shows me you're not trying to be aggressive. And that shows me that you don't care about winning, because winning intangibles, players don't do things like that. I mean, that's just utterly nonsense. Only time a player should take 10 threes in a game is if he start off 5 for 5 or 5 for 6 from 3. And it's like, okay, I might be having it going tonight. Let me go ahead and take some more 3, because I really might, can blow the game open with, we could win by 20 or 30 points as hot as I am. That's the only time a player should be doing something like that. But if you're like 0 for 5, 0 for 6, you need to start being more aggressive going to the basket. That's just my motto, and that's how I see it. So hopefully, there becomes a little bit more, consistency with James Harden and Paul George, because if not, I can tell you, it don't matter what the hell Kawhi does or anybody else on the team does, even Norman Powell, any of them. Those two are crucial to their success, and those two are the most inconsistent, so far this season.